Could President Obama's legacy be commuting the sentence of Chelsea Manning? Now, this is according to a report by NBC. Now, Justice Department source told the network that President Obama has put Chelsea Manning on the short list for a possible commutation of her sentence. Now, Manning is, of course, responsible for leaking some of these very important videos and cables to WikiLeaks that actually showed the United States doing war crimes against the Iraqi people. Now, she leaked that to the press, and for her, for actually showing what the government has done, well, she received 35 years in prison, an exceptionally long sentence. Now, of course, Chelsea Manning has not done very well in prison, as a lot of people would not. She's been actually tortured, kept in constant isolation in the prison at Fort Leavenworth. It's kind of no wonder that she's actually tried to commit suicide twice this year alone. So, I mean, you even have the UN coming out and saying, hey, look, what you're doing to this poor woman, this poor person, is you're torturing them. There was Juan Mendez, I've got a quote here, who runs the UN office that investigates torture. He told The Guardian that, quote, I conclude that the 11 months under conditions of solitary confinement, regardless of the name given to his regime by the prison authorities, constitutes at a minimum level cruel and inhuman and degrading treatment in violation of Article 16 of the Convention Against Torture. In effect, if the effects in regards to pain and suffering inflicted on Manning were more severe, they would also constitute torture. So, I mean, and some of the conditions, of course, that she was held in were solitary confinement for 23 hours a day and then being made to strip naked at night for absolutely no reason. And so you've got the treatment of Chelsea Manning in prison, but you also had the treatment of the court during her case. For example, the judge gave Manning a sentence about 10 times longer than other recent whistleblowers. In fact, her lawyer, David Combs, told NBC News, after the case, I had to tell Chelsea, quote, I've represented murderers, I've represented rapists, I've represented child molesters, and none of them received that harsh of a sentence. None of them received 35 years. So you rape somebody, kill somebody, molest a child, you'll still get less time than exposing the secrets of when Americans, the government does war crimes against another people. Is there no justice, Ron? Is there no justice in this case?
Yeah, I mean, well, I've said it before a number of times on this show and elsewhere. One of my biggest disappointments with the Obama administration has been how he's handled stuff like that. I don't like the way he handled Snowden. I don't like the way he handled Chelsea Manning at all. I think they both should have been treated as political offenses and not criminal. And I think that, yeah, I think it would be. I mean, obviously, I'm 100% in favor of him, commuting that. And yeah. I think he should pardon both of them. I think both Edward Snowden and Chelsea Manning should get pardons. But I felt that way for a long time. And I think Obama would be setting a really good example by doing that. It wouldn't show weakness. It would show critical thinking. It would show forgiveness. And it would show recognizing flaws and saying, we need to work on transparency. We need to work on diplomacy. And even though I disagree with what happened, these people had the good of their nation at their core. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to pardon them. So, yeah, I mean, I wish it went as far as a pardon, and I think it should be Chelsea Manning and Edward Snowden.
And speaking of Edward Snowden, too, he recently tweeted out his support. He said, Mr. President, if you grant only one act of clemency as you exit the White House, please free Chelsea Manning. You alone can save her life. So here you have, Edward Snowden is in a bit of a trouble himself, saying, hey, if you're going to do something, Chelsea Manning deserves it more than I do. And that's really, I mean, you can disagree with his political beliefs in some way because he's more like libertarianish, whatever. Mm-hmm. But you can't not look at that and say, or clap and just be like, Edward Snowden, there you go. Like, that's a good person. And so, I mean, for President Obama, hey, if you do you want a legacy that not even Donald Trump can undo? Because pretty much he's undoing everything else that you can do. Well, you want a real legacy, something that's actually going to excite people and actually going to, make people remember a lot of the stuff that you did. Free Chelsea Manning. Let her go. Let her go. I mean, again, how did he hurt the United States? How? She didn't. She didn't. The only thing that she did was she embarrassed the United States. She embarrassed the government, the establishment, and ended up getting 35 years for it. That is an insane sentence. Absolutely insane. And besides, the article, by the way, talked about how she gave an apology before she was sentenced. You know what I think? I think America owes her an apology and a big debt of gratitude for actually showing the truth. And instead, what we had was we had the people that actually perpetrated the war crimes that she uncovered. They are the ones that got off. They're the ones that didn't have anything negative happen to them. And that is a travesty of justice. And that is injustice that continues to persist to this day. As for every day that she is still in prison, undergoing torturous conditions, there is an injustice. Come on, President Obama. You've got to do the right thing. You've got to free Chelsea Manning. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.